Welcome to the Mahaffey Camp Podcast. This is going to be our first episode, our pilot episode. My name is Micah Yarger. I'm the executive director of Mahaffey Camp, and joining me for this first episode is my lovely wife, Mandy. Mandy is our program director here at Mahaffey Camp, slash almost everything else that happens here. She's got her hands in, and she's also a wonderful mother to our 3 children, and I'm really delighted to have her here for the first episode of the Mahaffey Camp Podcast. A couple things we're going to encounter and we're going to get into in this podcast is, one, why start a Mahaffey Camp podcast? What is going to be the purpose? What's going to be the content of this podcast? So we'll talk about that. And then number 2, and this was Mandy's idea for the first episode, was what is Mahaffey Camp? We're going to answer that question. We're thinking maybe there's some people listening, clicking into our first podcast who, maybe you know us, maybe you know someone who shared this podcast. Maybe you've heard of Mahaffey Camp, you're local to the area, and you're like, I don't even know what that place is. So we definitely want to encounter that question and go through that a bit. So first of all, Mandy, I think first thing, and we'll have you talk about it a little bit, the idea of having a podcast. Why would we want to have a podcast? What would that accomplish for that? Let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe you could even talk about what you've gotten out of podcasts in your life and what you hope to bring to the table. You hope that this podcast brings out for other people.
Sure. So, interestingly enough, Mahaffey Camp has had some really wonderful speakers come throughout the years. Some of our events are very large here, and then there are just people from all different backgrounds. Many international workers and missionaries come through. They have incredible stories. We have pastors from the region. We serve all of the Western PA district of the Christian Missionary Alliance. And so there's just some wonderful stories that I think we don't want to keep here, and we don't want to only be told here. We'd love to share that with everybody. And so while we have them here, we put together a podcast space to feature some of their stories, especially for people who maybe you went to Mahaffey Camp when you were a child and you live far away now and you just can't be here with us the way that you want to. We hope you'll come, but also to share some of that with people who live far away, or you're in a different country now and you miss Mahaffey Camp and Conference Center.
Yeah, it is kind of neat. You can go almost anywhere in the world, and you have the possibility of running into someone who has had an interaction with Mahaffey Camp. The reach of Mahaffey has been global for so many generations and so many decades at this point. Yeah. It's our audience, our community, our family is very scattered by design. Like, I'm glad that we are a ascending family here in the Alliance. So that's been a cool aspect to it. But yeah, I think you're totally right. My heart is for this podcast to be a look into the God things that happen here at camp. This isn't going to be a announcement or a video newsletter or a fundraising tool. While we may talk about things that we're fundraising for, and we may talk about things that are coming up, the primary purpose I want this to be is to tell the stories of what God is doing at camp, to talk about the cool things that Jesus is doing at youth camps, and to share the stories of, like you said, all of the incredible people that come through camp, and have just really interesting and God honoring ministries in other countries and other cultures. And how many times we've sat in a service at family camp and you hear a missionary talk for 10 minutes and you're like, oh, I wish I could talk to them for another hour. Hopefully we'll get some of those opportunities to sit down with those people and get a little deeper into their ministry and their stories that, before we didn't really have an avenue to do that. So
there's also some awesome counselors that were just at the beginning of their career or their ministry or their walk with the Lord in some cases. And so to hear how God's calling them, how they're finding him here in this beautiful setting, and, you know, the forest here and the hills. And it's just such a beautiful place that it's very easy to encounter God in all the nature that you're surrounded here by, and the worship and ministry. So, but that leads me to the question of, okay, all these great people come here, but what is Mahaffey Camp? What is this place?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I've talked to people locally here, and they almost all say the same thing. They're like, it's either one, I've lived here my whole life and I never knew what that place was. Just blanket. I never knew what that place was or what it did. You know, it was just something we drove past. Or two, and this is often with people, it's like their first time coming through, or, you know, and they'll say, I had no idea how big it was or how far it kept going up there. And so there's a lot of kind of curiosity of like, well, what is this place? And I know that, you know, just from growing up, coming to Mahaffey my whole life, starting as a Mahaffey camper in 1989 when I was 10 days old, you know, trying to explain Mahaffey Camp to my friends and trying to explain, you know, what is it? You know, what is this place? Oh, you own a cottage there. So you've even had friends that were trying to put together, you have a cottage there? Oh, can we come stay there? You know, and so, yeah. So I think, to answer the question, we kind of have to go back to the beginning. So Mahaffey Camp is founded in 1894. Mahaffey Camp is born kind of out of the revival movement. And there's a great book out there. It's called Mahaffey, The First 100 Years. And I'm looking kind of this way because I have a bookshelf over here, and I'm actually looking at the book. Hey, would our producer be able to hand me that book just briefly? Yeah. So Thank you. So this is the book. And check and see. Your grandma might have this on her shelf. Your mom might have this on their bookshelf. You might be able to see a couple copies floating around the Mahaffey Camp office or in the cottage that you go and visit at your friend's house. But this is the first 100 years. We just posted from deep in the Mahaffey archives on our YouTube channel the video Mahaffey Camp the First 100 Years, which will give you a really great explanation. And maybe we can link to the video.
Sure. Yeah.
You're our social media master. But this gentleman here, Reverend William Brainton, the founder of Mahaffey Camp. And Mahaffey Camp is born out of the revival camp meeting movement, okay? Which isn't unique to, Mahaffey. There were, many other camp meetings happening. But basically, what's happening is people are gathering all across the country, and they're coming together to hear these preachers, preachers of the gospel, and just like the entire culture is just entranced and captivated by going and listening to these preachers, and there's just scores and scores getting saved. And so Mahaffey Camp is before all of the cottages and before the dining hall, before all that. It actually begins, if you're local and around here, where the Dollar General is, where the Family Dollar was before, but now it's Dollar General. That was, I'm told, was the first location of camp, and then later it moved to its current location right on the west branch of the Susquehanna River. And the preachers are preaching on the stumps out in the woods. People are staying in tents. And, it's this 10-day long camp meeting. And camp meetings were fairly common. We are probably one of the last few 10-day long camp meetings. There's not too many that still do that, but it's been such a deep tradition in our faith family, the Western PA district, that it's, it's probably going to be around for, I hope, a long time to come. But yeah, so that's how it starts. It's a 10-day camp meeting born out of the kind of the revival, kind of a, a step toward, this book says that it was people of all walks of life, believers and non-believers alike. It was a very mixed, kind of diverse crew that came to these first meetings. So it's just, it's very, very interesting. I highly recommend getting a hold of this book and just going through and seeing what you can learn about the history here. You can read all of the cool things about them filling up the mattresses with straw, the straw ticks and everything.
Snakes and the straw ticks. I heard about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And the snakes.
There were some harrowing stories.
They would be literally laying on these straw mats and feel their mattress move and realize that there was a snake in them and pull them out. There's accounts of that in this book. So really interesting. Yeah.
So that was what started, was they came together for a revival meeting, and then people started coming back the next year for another meeting, and then they brought a tent the next year, and then eventually people started building cottages. But for a very long time, this place, Mahaffey Camp, existed solely for that 10 days of camp revival. For a long time.
Now, I think that historically, and there's probably someone in the comments who can tell us, there were often like men's retreats and things that would happen, kind of one-offs.
Sure.
But the youth camp era is really comes later, more not until kind of my lifetime, and then kind of the 90s and 2000s is when youth camps start kicking off, and then of course over the last 25 years retreats, conferences, all of this. And so the simplest way to explain it to people today is to say, it's a church camp and a conference center.
That also has youth camps.
That also has youth camps, right? And 200 privately owned cottages.
Right.
So, it's a little hard to put us in a box, but
it's a campground, so it's a private campground for most of the season. And then in July, we have the big family camp, and that's a community event. So that's open to anyone, can come to services. There's morning and evening services. There's all kinds of stuff for kids. Milkshakes at night.
Come and get a milkshake.
I forget. It's like 8:30-ish they start. A lot of people do. They just come for a milkshake. They see the evening service. That's a big community event. We also do a big fall festival. It's called Apple Fest. And that's a community event, meaning both of those are free. Anybody can come. You can walk in, you can walk out. There's food available for purchase, like food trucks and different things. But for the most part, you can just come for the day.
You don't have to register for it.
You're not registering.
Unless you want a tent or an RV spot.
Right. Yeah. If you want to stay, you want lodging. And then the other events are either we're hosting outside guest groups because we're a conference center, or we are hosting a retreat, like our women's retreat, our men's retreat. We have all different things happening throughout the year. It's all on the website. And then there's youth camps. So there's 5 weeks of 8 different youth camps that are for kids, really kindergarten through 12th grade. So it's a busy little place.
Yeah. And it might even be easier to say what it's not. A lot of people are sometimes confused. It's not like a public campground where,
like a KOA.
We have people who just come in and book a weekend for their, for their RV. The people who are staying here are, part of ministry. We're ministering to them. That being said, if you ever want to check out camp, call us.
Yeah,
come. It's, it is not, a locked, barrier there. We certainly want people to come enjoy the campground. There's a lot of people from the community that will come up and enjoy the playground and bring their kids up and or have a place to take a walk. I think the best thing to do is like just come and say hi and introduce yourself to Mandy or me, and that can be.
The cottages make it really unique and special. Like it's a really fun place to walk. A lot of people like walk their dogs around. Not during family camp, no dogs during family camp, but but there's like great place to bike and walk your dogs and just explore. Really wonderful sports fields. Like there's a basketball court and volleyball. It's a great resource for ministry groups coming in.
Mahaffey has been such an impactful place for me. As I mentioned, I've been coming here my whole life. I'm probably I'm the fourth generation, so my children are the fifth generation, and our story is so similar to other people who come to Mahaffey. Of my parents brought me, and their parents brought them, and their parents brought them, and it just goes so on and so forth. And we don't have all of the bells and whistles and all of the the latest high ropes courses and zip lines and swimming pools and things like that. But we have such an incredible spiritual environment here that for me, it's been my favorite place in the world. It's been the most impactful place in the world to me. And I think so much of that has to do with the prayer surrounding this campground, and just the generations of prayer before us. Yeah. So that's what makes it particularly humbling to be in leadership here. Is just, man, when I read through this book, it's wild. Like the fact that I'm a part of this story is so completely humbling, and I'm just like, Lord, this needs to be you. Like this needs to be you leading this camp. This needs to be you directing the way. So I just have to say, Mahaffey Camp is such a place of nostalgia. It feels like a slice of heaven on earth for so many of us. And my goal is for this to be a place where you can come, you can bring your children, and encounter God in a very real way and experience the love of Christ and have an opportunity to just grow deeper and enter into that deeper life.
Yeah, I realized we were setting up for an event the other day, and I thought, like, part of our offering to the Lord, like we get to kind of that, that story where the person pours their this expensive perfume on the ground and for Jesus' feet. And I was thinking about that. We host a lot of different types of events, and they're nothing groundbreaking, but it's just always so beautiful when the Lord shows up. And and often that's when the people are walking from the dorm in the morning to breakfast, and it's quiet and there's mist off the river and they just sense the presence of the Lord, or there's beautiful worship. And so, it's a huge honor to be here. It's very unconventional. Like it's not it's very old fashioned and rustic. And, but I think that's good for us to, as people, to get away from the hustle and bustle sometimes. And this is a really special place to get away and maybe even be a little uncomfortable when it gets hot in the summer or cold in the winter. But it's humbling. It's a beautiful place. The family piece was really interesting. I didn't grow up at Mahaffey Camp. I married into it. And even when we were dating, it was a very big deal for me to come with him to Mahaffey Camp. That was it was getting serious. This was getting serious. And so I just loved how his whole family has cottages kind of near each other. There's all these cousins. There's kids everywhere, like playing and running. And it does feel like you're in Mayberry a little bit, like it's like a time capsule from the past. Everybody knows each other, or like they know of each other because their cottages are nearby. But mainly that piece where families are coming back together, not just for a reunion, but they're spending like significant time, like 10 days, anywhere from, sometimes they come for a couple of days, and they're coming back and then they're worshiping together.
Right.
That's really beautiful.
It's so much more than a family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, family's such a big part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think any of us would come just to meet with our family. It's like you're coming to meet with your family to meet with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing where it's just like, what an awesome tradition to start in your family.
Yeah.
and to spend 10 days every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're the aunts and the uncles and the cousins, we're all together, and we're here to worship Jesus for 10 days. Yeah. So, just to wrap this up, we could talk literally all day, all evening. We could talk for hours and hours about Mahaffey Camp. But for those of you who are listening who are Mahaffey campers, who are a part of this community, I want you to write in the comments, what is Mahaffey Camp to you? How do you describe Mahaffey Camp to people who ask you, what is camp? What is that place? What is this place you take off 10 days of vacation every year to go to? What is Mahaffey Camp to you? How would you describe it? Put that in the comments. Also, we want to share this camp with the world so that more people have an opportunity to meet with Jesus in a special way. So take the opportunity to like and to share this podcast, to send the link, to spread the word, because, we hope that ultimately we're going to have people sharing the gospel and sharing the word and sharing the love of Christ on here. And we would love for, to have as big of a viewer base as possible. So anything you think we need to share to close?
It's all about Jesus. We're just here. It's a really fun, creative place where we're trying lots of different things to help people. The little slogan is refresh, renew, refocus. So be refreshed here, come and rest, come and get away. Be renewed by whatever Jesus has for you in that time, and then refocus your life on him. Even if people come for one event or one day in their whole life, we hope you'll come for more, but that's worth it. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. And, we'll just close with thank yous. We don't have any sponsors to thank you yet, but, that's a possibility. But we'll say thank you to our producer today. Elijah Rutenberg has donated his time and effort and knowledge to help us produce this and put this together. So he's today's sponsor for this podcast, because we would not have done it or been able to do it without Elijah. Thank you, sir. And we hope to see you in the next Mahaffey Camp Podcast. Stay tuned, follow, and let us know what you thought of this episode. Have a great day, and God bless you.